call, let me introduce Dr. Christina Cook in a few short words. And Christina, she was working on different pharmaceutical biotech companies. Has done a lot of research, clinical and medical science. She was actually an advisor for marketing teams of biotech, pharma, and medical companies. She also teaches at universities like Harvard, so she's still going to school, and is involved in a lot of laboratory work, develop products regarding detox, nutraceuticals, biotech, pharma. So she has a lot of experience where she could talk from, and we are very pleased to have you here on this call and talk a bit about your experience. And yeah, this gives me actually the first sign. Dr. Cook, would you please be so kind and just in a few words talk a little bit from your experience, from your work, and so the entire audience get to know you a little bit better?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you for your time today. First of all, I appreciate it. And just to give you a little bit of a background about me, I have spent the majority of my career, like you said, doing research and medical science, clinical science for biotech and pharma companies. And I also, through that process, started different companies of my own that we ran through the United States through networks of doctors, as well as research companies, as well as patient program companies, interoperative monitoring companies where we would go into surgeries and make sure that they had electrodes on them, so that if a nerve, for example, it would alert the doctor before, so that the patient would not be paralyzed or die or hit an artery, etc. So I've done numerous things. My rule around doing business is always, if it makes sense for the patient and the provider to make the healthcare system better, I'm interested. If it doesn't, I'm not. And so through the progression of the over 20 years of my life, I would say the majority of my life has been spent, like I said, on clinical medical science in the lab, working on things, or publications, presenting, doing things like that, or working for hospital systems. Like I worked for the government in China throughout their hospital systems, things like that. But part of my career has been on the business side. So that's why I think I'm able to understand what you guys are doing and how I can assist you and help you. And that's why it's extremely important to me that I listen to what you guys want and what you guys need, and how I can help get the message out there even better from my clinical perspective, so that you guys can sell the different products, so that doctors and clinicians understand the different products that you're using, and so you can get this out to more people. I started noticing probably in my late 20s that nutrition and wellness, prevention, detox, etc., were very important with the whole process, probably more than anything. And I realized that because when we were doing cloning, we would have basically a clone, or we would have twins, and they had the same genetics, but then we started seeing epigenetics, where something else would come out because people were exposed, or animals were exposed to different toxins. So that's when it really hit me that it was very important we focus on this area of healthcare. However, I spent most of my time until about the last 2, 3, 4 years focused on making pharmaceutical, biotech, medical device drugs that we would take through the FDA and help cure diseases or help stop the progression of diseases. So about 3, 4 years ago, I realized that it's time for me to switch. I really need to focus on this detoxification and wellness platform. And through that process, I made some detox products. I met Rain. That's how I met Rain. They were interested in a product that I had made in a lab that they wanted to roll out through their network. And we still haven't rolled that out yet. We're still working on getting all of that done so that you guys can have it. But in that progression, we started talking about how Ray needed a clinical science department that could then help the people in the field really get information out to doctors, healthcare providers, and to customers. And it takes a lot of work because at that time, they had a couple of white papers. They had some research from the labs from Brunswick and from a couple of small studies, but they didn't have like a large database or a large set of research that was just on their product. And they didn't have patents. And so my focus when I came into the company was to go to all the countries and to meet you guys and to try to start understanding each country, because, RAIN is not just a United States company. It is a company that's in all these countries. For me to develop the right plan for the company, I needed to understand the healthcare system in your countries and how we could integrate everything and help not just the corporate RAIN in, the United States, but help you guys. I'm still learning because every system's different. But through that progression, that was the summer, we then started incorporating the development at the same time of building a database where we could gather the research, that we could combine the nutraceutical world and the pharmaceutical, hospital, provider world, so that my goal was to have the first database from an MLM company where we really gathered this data, and that we were able to start gathering it, and then we would very quickly, after we started doing that, be able to report on that data. Rain had an idea of having a database where you could search like diabetes and you could see the article or different publications where black cumin seed helped diabetes. And we're still working on the development of that. But what I wanted was an even stronger database. I wanted a database that included actually people that were on these products. I wanted Soul, I wanted Core, I wanted Reverie, I wanted our new product Bend, I wanted the new detox product that we're going to roll out. I wanted everything in this database because I didn't want you guys to just have a database where you could search and see that black cumin seed helps with cancer. I wanted you guys to have a database which would show lab results and hospital stays, infection rates, etc., as it pertains to that patient or that customer being on Soul or Core or these products. So that's what we've done. We have that database. We have the pilots. We are going to roll out those pilots, roundtable discussions. The roundtable discussions are going to be select leaders that bring together. And
Christina, may I shortly interrupt you?
Yes.
Could we please just follow this, pick up this talk about the roundtable discussion and the Eisen, the Seed Society? Because there's some people, or a lot of people on this call, who still have no idea what actually Soul and Core is about, what RAIN is about. Well, we are the head of the medical advisory board of RAIN, and so we thought, and there are many questions regarding nutraceuticals, seed nutrition. Okay. So people here on this call, they have questions about, where seed nutrition might go into the future. Could you please talk a little about Soul and Core in the first place, and then we pick up afterwards?
Absolutely. And thank you for doing that, because I don't want to address what I need. I need to know what you guys need. So thank you for doing that. And then stop me again if I get off track and you need me to get to another topic, because that'll help me. Okay. So seed nutrition is basically, when I talk about seed nutrition, I'm talking about what happens when you develop seeds from the ground to consumption, right? And traditionally, there hasn't been a lot of research or a lot of science behind that. There's a lot of science behind the seeds as it pertains to agriculture. In fact, in Europe, and you guys probably know this, and in many of the countries, the universities are spending a lot of time really focusing on the seed nutrition as it pertains to agriculture. And their societies, and that's their whole focus, is focusing on that. But there hasn't been a huge focus at the university level or at the educational level on what really seed nutrition is for people. And so our focus is to try to develop that, make that something that's taught at universities, make the seed nutrition something that is known in a doctor's program, an MD program, PhD, nutrition class. We want to do that but that's going to take a lot of work, because one of the issues around that is every seed is different. I think that's going to change as this progresses too, because we're going to work really hard that when people take, for example, black cumin seed, my goal is to make sure you know what black cumin seed, and that every cumin seed is the same, so we do know how much vitamin C and stuff is in that, black cumin seed. Right now, it has not been a focus of these manufacturing plants or the scientists. So we really are going to be changing the way people are thinking and producing really sound science so that people understand what seed nutrition means. And I don't think it's going to take us long, because I think through the way we're doing this, it'll happen pretty quickly. When I say seeds, in my mind, because I do a lot with nanotechnology, and I'll show you, for example, here's one of my papers right now that excuse me, I'm losing my voice, I'm working on. And if you can see it, it says interactions between food additives, silica nanoparticles, and food matrices. And it's talking about basically the food industry and the supplement industry and how they use nanoparticles to produce nutraceuticals or supplements. And it's talking about how nanoparticles need to be included in that. One more article that I'm working on right now is this one. And this says the application of nanotechnology in food science, perception and overview. So I'm taking one of the classes I'm taking at Harvard right now. Is in the graduate bioscience engineering program. And we're focusing a lot on food, drugs, nutrition. But I was talking about this yesterday in class, or Wednesday night in class. There's not a lot of nanotechnology articles based on seed nutrition. Because if you read these, it's talking about food science. It's talking about food additives, and the articles talk about supplements and how you go into a lab and you work on it, but there's nothing on seeds. So for my class homework, I'm focusing on seeds, and I'm writing things, and the class is extremely interested because no one else understands this topic or has explored it. But because of Rain, I've spent quite a bit of time on it. And when they developed Soul and Core, and you have Soul, and of course, most of you guys know almost all their products include black cumin seed, because black cumin seed is such a powerful seed. It produces such a powerful oil. Overall, it has so many nutrients, and it has so much of an ability to balance a system, to get rid of bad cells and to save good cells, that it's really the basis of a lot of the Rain products. And probably it definitely is one of the favorite products I've ever worked on or with, because it causes the black cumin seed and the oil that comes from that seed. There are thousands and thousands of publications that show in vivo and in vitro it causes cancer cell death. It causes the good cells to thrive, and it can even reverse aging. And there's tons of information on it. So that's why it's important to me that we're able to look not just at black cumin seed, but also to look at the 3 ingredients. So you're looking at raspberry, black cumin seed, and the Chardonnay grape, as well as the D-ribose. I want to look at all of those ingredients and how they work together to give energy to people and to our bodies through the packet of Soul. If I take those 3 seeds and those 3, the oils of those seeds and the ingredients that are in those seeds, and I studied them, there's, again, thousands of publications that show how good it is for your heart, how good it is for anti-aging, how good it is for your blood, how it's used for patients that have cancer, how it's used sometimes to support chemotherapy and radiation, how it's good for diabetes, how it's good for Alzheimer's. There's all kinds of information on that. And then now what we're working on through what we were talking about earlier is showing how that packet and the way we manufacture that in a lab is so instrumental to the body and how that's impacting people's life and people's health. And I can, do you want to talk?
No, it's great. You have so much information. I see you can tell so many things. There are a lot of doctors and therapists here on this call, and who probably have a lot of patients and clients with all sorts of problems. And where do you see the possibilities of core and soul and of future products in the healthcare system?
Yeah, well, core is made of ingredients that help basically get the bad things out of your body. It's a detox. It's not the strongest detox I've ever seen. However, it's a very good detox because using superfoods like spirulina, they have milk thistle, wheatgrass, cranberry. There's a lot of very, very good ingredients that if you have patients or customers who are suffering from diabetes or Alzheimer's or anything neurologically that is going on that's not positive for the body, and cancer with your chemotherapy and radiation. When you're having cancer, you just are bombarding your system of toxins to try to kill, the bad cells. However, you're killing the good cells. What I love about core is that it's detoxing, but it's also protecting, like Soul, protecting the good cells. It's much more of a body flush detox than Soul. Soul is more of a product that helps the healthy cells thrive and helps your body really harmonize so that you are protecting against aging, protecting against viruses, protecting against bacteria, fungus. If you look at the ingredients in Soul, you've got very strong ingredients that are known through numerous publications to do those things. Also, it helps with brain health, et cetera, et cetera. Core is something, though, for me, I've had cancer. I've worked and studied in the oncology, hematology world for most of my career and done lots of research in that world, working on human monoclonal antibodies, cloning, stuff that we talked about. Core is a very great product for those types of patients. And I think most researchers that have, I think most doctors, if they'll research those ingredients and look at the number of papers and publications that are around black cumin seed and Chardonnay, red raspberry, they'll see how good the product of Soul is for the body, for people that have a disease or an immune system problem. However, I talk a lot about the fact that our bodies are toxic. In 2004, there were 10 babies that they studied at Harvard that had not detoxed. They were just born. They had over 200 toxins in their blood. About 100 of those toxins caused cancer. They were cancerogenic. That means they're in their body. They're going to at some point unlock something that has to do with cancer or another immune problem. Then the rest of them predominantly had to do with the nervous system, and anything that would have to do with ADHD or autism or even overall thinking, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, all the dementia. The other half, they were present in the baby's blood at birth. However, they had 10 adults that had detoxed. They had less toxins than the babies that were born because they were detoxing and flushing those toxins out of their system. And that's why I think core is so important. If you have a problem with your immune system or you have a disease, you've got to get rid of the bad things in your body. There's a lot of heavy metals. The World Health Congress made a statement numerous times that they think up to 80% of our health problems are from the toxins in the environment that then present into our bodies. Mm-hmm. So core is extremely important, for these things. It really is.
Many degenerative illnesses come from toxification, probably.
Yes, absolutely.
Almost
all of them, because it causes an inflammatory cascade, which sets it off. And unless you can stop that cascade, it's just going to keep growing. It's going to keep getting worse. So you've got to put things into your body. And it's a misconception to think that the only way you can stop a disease or get rid of bacteria or viruses is through an antibiotic or a drug. That's not true. And if you really stop and think about it, these are natural products that have incredible benefits. You just don't have to have a doctor write a prescription for them. But I think there's a lot of doctors, especially in Europe and in Asia, and now it's starting to happen in the United States because our government is starting to pay for nutraceuticals. They're starting to realize, okay, someone just had a concussion. Here's the vitamins or minerals that you need to take that will help your brain recover from a CTE or a concussion. And I know that because my son had a concussion from football. We went to the neurosurgeon and he wrote what my son needed to do. And it was a whole sheet that was based on vitamins, minerals that had to do with, helping his brain recover. What I noticed was most of those were like vitamins that you just put in your mouth. And I know enough to know that vitamins, even the ones that say they're natural, most of them are synthetic. What's so great about our product is we took the seeds and we preserved the whole seed. We used a compression method and a cold press method where we would preserve all the nutrients. It's kind of like if you're going to, are you going to boil your food and boil all the nutrients out, or are you going to preserve it by eating it raw? So when you look at those packets, that's the raw seed and the raw nutrients. And that's really hard to find because it's very expensive to make.
So you're saying the rain, the products of rain, what makes it so important, what makes it so powerful is, first of all, of course, the ingredients. On the other hand, it's the process, how they are made.
Yes.
And the quality is really, it's a very high quality standard of the products.
It's a very high standard. We source the products from the top places, and when there's been a couple of times where even with the new product where we were sourcing products, we could get them cheaper, a lot cheaper at other places, and they were not from a good, like for example, we're even sourcing from where did the seed come out of, what kind of land, what kind of area, and then we also look at the manufacturer. So there's been lots of times we could change, make the product lower or less expensive to produce, and we have not done that. Even with the new product, we went with the most expensive option because it was the most natural, organic, clean product that we could get. And that's what we did. And we continue to do it. And then the method that we're producing that in the manufacturing facilities, it's expensive, the way we're doing it. It takes a long time.
There are already questions in the chat, and I will come to those questions in a second. But there's one more thing I would like to mention, because we met in Croatia last week, and you were talking about patents. Also, I just would like, I don't want to mention all the patents, we don't have to talk about it in the whole place, but just that there are patents that Rain is getting because, yeah, you take it all together.
Yes, I was trying to see where I trying to think of, I thought I picked them up because I was working on them earlier. We do have patents. We have 12 that have gone through the provisional process, and then we have more that we're putting through now. So we have our patent acceptance letters, and we have 12 months to finalize if we want any changes to those patents, or they'll go in like we have them. We did it around the process for Soul and Core and Bend and Reverie, as well as Form, which I don't know if you guys, I don't think you have Form there. Yeah, we did it. And then we also did it around the future processes that we're going to use. And we did it around nanotechnology, because we're going to make these products even better, because you could still have the same products with Soul and Core and incorporate more of a nanotechnology, which may, we don't know yet, but it may make the products even better for people, but we're going to test that. So in order for us to do all of that, we wanted to go ahead and get the patents, as well as the patents for DNA testing and for the future products that we're getting ready to launch.
Yeah. There's one thing I think it's very important to talk about, the International Seed Nutrition Society. You were talking about it already at the beginning a little bit, and we were talking about it in Croatia a lot. And since there are many doctors and therapists on this call, what is RAIN actually aiming for? What stands behind the International Seed Nutrition Scientists, the roundtables? Could you go a little deeper into this?
Absolutely. So the International Seed Nutrition Society is it is a society that we will be doing publications, abstracts, white papers. We also will be giving grants to universities and to doctors to research certain things, because doctors could apply for grants from RAIN, but they may have a better opportunity to get a grant from ISNS because we are going to be able to produce everything, and we can make whatever claim or whatever we want to make, because we're getting, we're coming together as an organization to not just look at RAIN products, but to look at seed nutrition in general and what happens when you take certain products that are seed nutrition. And so the ability of a society to do a journal, an editorial, to do meetings where you have podium presentations, not from Christina Cook, but from the doctors throughout the world that will be presenting their findings on seed nutrition and their papers and their discussions and their posters. That's really important for all of us to get together and be able to do it. On the flip side, it's very important for the business professionals to be able to hear some of these discussions, be a part of it, be able to assist as well with the findings that we are delivering on seed nutrition. So the first step was to get the website up and to have people be able to apply. We're working right now at the development of that website. And then we're going to send out to people where we have their emails. We're going to send out invitations. They can go on there right now. Like we actually, I think, had 7 yesterday that had applied. You just go to the apply button and then you fill it out. Now, if you're a key opinion leader or a doctor or someone in healthcare, and even if you're not, if you're a business person, if you'll fill out that KOL form when you have time, that helps us decide who's going to be on a committee, who's going to help us with different things with the society. We don't want to accept doctors actually unless they do that at some point, because we need to know what their background is. We want to see all the things that they've done so we can utilize their expertise to the fullest while we're working on the development of the society and the journals. It will be an international, group. So there's a lot to do, and there's a lot I think that we're going to find through that. The hybrid chart, the documentation that we're talking about, that contract is actually not even with RAIN, it's with the society. And the society is something, let's say, not that I think anyone will ever leave RAIN, but if different doctors and different people left RAIN, they would still be part of the society, because the society is a group of professionals that are coming together to really try to improve healthcare and medicine and help with patient care by documenting and proving the importance of the appropriate seed nutrition. I want it to be almost like and Byron talks about it. It's a separate category, but when you talk about agriculture, when you're a farmer, everyone understands this. But when you talk to medical doctors about seed nutrition, they don't completely get it yet. So I think within the next 2 years through the society, it'll be something that will come up very frequently. And I think there will be a lot of companies that will start producing products around the seed nutrition. And my goal is for the pioneers, the people that are starting this, to be the leaders and the thought leaders in this.
And you're also starting the roundtable discussions. Roundtable discussions, as I got it, it's like a question, diving deeper into a certain subject, into a discussion, spreading out the word about soul, core, and all the other seed nutritional. And who are you actually looking for? What kind of people?
Well, we want, in order to be in the roundtable focus groups, they have to be part of the Seed Nutrition Society. And I have to pick some leaders to work with, and they will pick people that they're involved with to roll it out to them. It may grow very quickly. So while we start with 10 people, the first meeting, who each have 10 people, 10 people in Europe, because there's going to be, I think that there's already 13 in the United States. So we probably may end up going more than 10, in Europe. But in your different countries, so we have them all together. We'll do a discussion kind of like now. The difference will be each time there will be at least a paper publication that we will discuss around seed nutrition. And then we will have a discussion where we're discussing the importance as doctors, scientists, researchers, healthcare professionals, business people, what we think about the article. And then we will have a plan after each meeting of what we will be doing as a group to improve our knowledge of seed nutrition. And we will have an agenda of what our plans are to grow the society and the education and to get to customers. So it really will be a working group that's dedicated to having all the information around the science and the medical and the clinical. There's not a downside, because the only thing I could say is it's not a marketing meeting. It's not a sales meeting. It's an educational meeting. However, I think your top salespeople, most of your top salespeople do understand the clinical and science, and they want to learn more.
So just let's wrap it up. We actually have. So we have Rain, we have Seed Nutrition, which is at this point very powerful with its products, Soul and Core. And Rain has a huge concept staying behind it to go into the future and bring more benefits to the world, to the health people out there, to the society itself. And yes, you're working on it on the scientific side as well as on the educational side. So we have a company that's bringing a big benefit into the world.
I really want the people that are interested in being in the society and being exposed to the clinical science lab, results, all the things we're talking about, to join the society. I'm able to speak more freely and openly in a society meeting than I can on stage. I can't, on stage I have to be careful what I say because I'm representing the company. But in the society, I can talk openly. We can debate, we can have disagreements, we can discuss what we need to do differently, what we think the best seed products are, how we think, back to the point, how we think, what is the best pathway, when should we take this, when should we not take this, where should this work, where do we think it doesn't work. I can have much more of those discussions openly in these meetings, and so can the other doctors, and so can you guys as professionals, because it's an open forum where we're discussing things. So I really want people to go and apply to the society, and then hopefully we'll have that website up and going so you guys can see everything within the next week or 2 weeks. You're able to go there now, like I said, and apply. But I really want you guys involved, especially the ones that I see, and I see your pictures up there, and the doctors that I've seen. I think you guys are extremely active in RAIN, and I think you will benefit from the society. I liked the one gentleman that won the surfboard. What was his name? That he won the award. Georg. I liked Georg when he said, you don't need to know all the clinical science, and you just need to open the pack and take it. Because I agree with him. At first, just take the pack, right? You take it, see how you're feeling. And you guys hear me all the time. I'm like, it matters how you feel, not just what I tell you. It matters. And I'm never going to disagree with you when you guys say, oh, well, this made me sick, or it probably did. Like, I know Bend, when I take Bend, I get hot and I feel, a lot of energy, but I can feel it making me hot, and it's because it's speeding my metabolism up. So I'm not going to ever disagree with you guys when you tell me how it makes you feel. And you should just take it, right, and try it. And for doctors, I want to tell them, if you're interested in using it with your patients or with people you should try it first and see what you think about it. And not just for a week, not just for 2 weeks, but for at least a month. And even if you have to work up with the core, you just need to take it gradually and try it. And then while you're doing that, we will keep learning about the science. We will keep understanding when we should take this, for what diseases, for what bacteria, for what viruses, for what fungus, how do we use it, all of those things. But in the meantime, that doesn't mean you don't take the product and that you don't spread the wonderful news about it out there. Because I know on the days I don't take the product, I feel significantly different. And so I think I want everyone involved in the society, but during that process, I definitely want people trying the products or using the products, actually.
Christina, thank you so much for taking the time and being here with us and giving us so many, information about everything that's happening behind it and in front of us. And I would also like to thank everyone who was on this call. Thanks for all the questions. And I hope we can repeat it one day and spread out the word.